This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City head back on the road to take on the Philadelphia Union. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Yo, 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 yo. Matty Lawrence there. I'm Glenn Crooks. Welcome as we are not too far down the road away from match day number 2 for both the New York City Football Club and the Philadelphia Union. Although for Philadelphia, it'll be their 4th game in 2026, while New York City will be playing just their 2nd. And Matty, I want to kick off with this. It's at Subaru Park in Chester where this match is being played. And the last time they were there together was November the 23rd, 2025. Earlier, Philadelphia had beat New York City to win the Supporters' Shield on October the 4th. So they were celebrating that. And then they were back home for this big playoff match, Eastern Conference semifinal. Memorable 1-0 win for New York City FC. And I thought we'd kick off with a chance to harken back to that moment from the New York City FC network. New York City now with Tavon Gray off the dribble. Nice little curling move on the dribble to the left. Now Ojeda, can he work his way past McConya? Does so. Fernandez Mercado slips it to Maxime Morales, and it's 1-0 New York City FC in the 27th minute. What a delivery. What an assist from Nico Fernandez Mercado. And it was Maxime Morales coming out of the midfield. The pass was slipped to Morales in the penalty area, and he slots it past Andre Blake. 1-0 New York City.
Wow, this is a goal of true quality. This is a team goal as well. Started by winning the ball in the middle of midfield by Kevin O'Toole. The layoff then from Johnny Shaw into Tavon Gray, who beats a man and passes the ball into the path of Ojeda so he doesn't have to stop his stride. Ojeda cuts inside, lays it into Fernandez Mercado, and a delightful little diagonal run in behind the 2 centre-halves from Morales. Laid in perfectly by Fernandez Mercado. Maxi Morales has a little look and then takes a shot first time into the far corner. That is a magnificent goal, Glenn.
And one of the keys, it seems, at Subaru Park is trying to take the crowd out of the game a little bit. And that certainly did, at least in the first half.
Yeah, it did. Look, I said it then, but that was a wonderful team goal, deserving of winning pretty much any game anywhere around the world. Yeah. The goal was that good, that is for certain. I just love the timing of Maxi's run in behind. We know that Maxi's
it's lovely to watch, right?
He's not the quickest, Maxi,
yeah.
But nobody could get near him, and that's all about the timing of the run and the timing of the through ball as well from Fernandez Mercado. It was terrific. But you're right, take the crowd out of the game. Anytime that you play away from home, it's one of the last things that the coach, the captain, whoever it is, you as a group will say is, let's take the tee or the crowd out of the game. First tackle, win a first tackle, and don't get in an argument with any of the opposition, because that then just buoys the crowd as well. Don't do anything silly in the first few minutes. Don't give away a stupid yellow card. Don't do anything that just brings the crowd into the game. And I think
which happened the following match at Inter Miami when all kinds of things went on there, and that escalated all the activity there, but including in the audience.
Yeah, or away at LA Galaxy on the first game of the season. Take the crowd out of the game. Don't concede after 90 seconds of the game, and bring the crowd right into it. And then NYCFC was struggling throughout the first half to get back in the game, and they couldn't get back in the game. It took them having to sit down for 15 minutes and Pascal having to reiterate to them how they should have started the first half, and credit to the players and to Pascal. They turned things around. It truly was a game of 2 halves. The first half, LA Galaxy totally deserved to win the game. In the second half, I think that NYCFC deserved to win the game. So probably a draw was a fair result.
That's the way it opened for New York City, who are now 2 wins, 4 losses, 6 draws on opening day, always away from home, and now they're second straight away from home. But that was part of the story last year, how they performed on the road. And we should give credit to Matt Freese. He had 5 saves in that Eastern Conference semifinal, and 3 of them were of the maybe spectacular variety. Not every keeper would make those saves.
Yeah, 3 of them were good. We don't want to quite class them as world class, but I'm with you. Absolutely, they are right up there. If you want to say Premier League class, however you want to say it, or La Liga class, it was right up there. And look, firstly, that's what the goalkeeper's there for. But you're also right in what you said, that not every goalkeeper would have saved those 3 shots that Matt Freese did. We just know, and the NYCFC players and defenders and coaches know, that he is or has been up until this point, very solid in goal. And that is why he's the US men's national team #1 goalkeeper as things stand right now. I only say as we stand, doesn't mean at the World Cup, but as we stand right now, he's the #1 goalkeeper for club and country.
He has this very dubious record. So he's a former Philadelphia Union goalkeeper. He has conceded in a single match the most goals by both teams, meaning when he was with Philadelphia, he was involved in a 4-2 defeat. So those 4 goals were the most that Philadelphia had given up to New York City in a single match. And while the New York City keeper, the Pigeons lost to Philadelphia 5-1 in the regular year. So he's got those things, but he's got a lot more going for him than
Matt's
than those
also very
records.
glad that you're not his agent, bringing up things like that. He wouldn't be going.
Well,
anywhere.
He's also made 12 straight starts for the U.S. men's national team.
You're right.
So,
you got yourself back in the good places with Matt there.
Now, one thing about that Philadelphia game. So one of the stories was Alonso Martinez and Andres Perea out injured, which is still the case. So when we saw the lineup for the Galaxy match and then observed the game and watched it progress, Nico Fernandez-Murcao was the 9.5, as you'll hear Pascal Janssen describe it. He's the striker, but is that kind of low striker, if you will. So it had a similar look, and I'm going to want your thoughts, but I did ask the exact question was, what is the sustainability of this particular shape with Fernandez-Murcao at striker, with Martinez out, a more, shall we say, proper striker, not yet in the transfer area, and perhaps a 17-year-old named Seymour Reed, not quite ready. But is this sustainable? Let's see if I got this.
At this moment, he's helping us as the 9.5 role that he plays. We've played good phases in several games. We've played good matches as well in total. I recall a game that we played in Red Bull also with a similar structure in our ideas. So overall, I would say Nico is just a very good player. So wherever you put him on pitch, he's going to reach a certain level that the team will always benefit from.
That's for sure. We know he's a good player. That didn't specifically answer the question about the number 9. I was just about to say,
absolutely, the sustainability, that was the question that wasn't answered. And I think Pascal Janssen's absolutely right in the fact that, yes, Nico's a really good player. The fact of the matter is Nico's a very good player and he could play almost anywhere. I think he could probably play left back and he'd still be a good player in MLS. But you want him to play in the position where it's the most impactful, and you've used that word. Where is he the most impactful? And that is obviously as a 10 or as a wide man. It's not playing with his back to goal. And Nico does not want to play there. He will do the job because he's a wonderful professional and a good footballer. But you know he doesn't want to be there because after 15, 20 minutes against LA Galaxy, when he'd hardly touched the ball, he was getting bored, Glenn. He was getting bored. Erling Haaland never gets bored. He might not touch the ball more than once or twice when he plays for Man City in a half. He never gets bored. But Fernandez-Murcao is not that guy. He doesn't want to play like that. So he's getting bored. And remember the one time he gave a foul away on the edge of NYCFC's own box because he was getting bored and wanted to get himself involved in the game. And he's now committing a foul 20 yards from our own goal, NYCFC's own goal, when you want him 20 yards from the opposition goal if you're the centre forward. So it is sustainable for very small amounts of time. He did it 2 or 3 times last season. And for me, I would only want him doing it 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 times this season. It will work. It worked away to LA Galaxy. But is it the best option? No, of course not. The best option is having a fit Alonso Martinez, which there isn't. So the next best option is bringing in another player. Seymour Reed, I don't think's quite there, Glenn. At 17, it's very hard to lead the line for a good team and a good league that MLS is and NYCFC hope to be. So it's probably a little bit too early. I am surprised that another centre forward hasn't come in. But I understand that if a new centre forward comes in, you want somebody to come in who can impact the league and the team straight away, score goals. So you're going to have to spend money.
It might be the summer window now. Yeah. That might be the time where they can acquire the right guy for the right money.
You also know that Martinez, or you assume Martinez will be back and at the same level he was before he was injured. So do you want to outlay a large amount of money on a transfer fee and then wages, knowing that really Alonso Martinez is your main man? So I realise it's difficult.
But we see the starting 11 here, and so Fernandez Mercado, by everything that we can see, will again be in that false nine position. Seymour Reed is on the bench. So wondering, and we've seen Seymour Reed come in late in games. Fernandez Mercado, he puts in a lot of miles and a lot of effort, and at times he's just been drawn out of the game late, or there'll be some sort of rotation where Seymour Reed will come on and Maxi Morales will drop out. Maxi Morales, after starting 39 MLS games in a row last year, is now going to be starting his second straight, and he turned 39 between game 1 and game 2, so he's already.
Absolutely. It's all about the longevity of him as a footballer and the sustainability of his career as well. But yes, he will be wanting as much rest as possible, but hopefully he will want that during he will want that during the week, the rest, rather than on a match day. He'll happily play 90 minutes every game, but his minutes will need to be managed, Glenn, the older you get, of course.
Well, 20 years his junior is Drew Baera, a homegrown who made his MLS debut. He played 10 minutes off the bench. They were pretty effective minutes. And Matty will be happy to know, because in our commentary, we were very complimentary of how he just came in and handled it. And that's part of what's been going on in preseason, that Pascal Janssen has a certain amount of trust. In fact, he's loaned out Micha Ilinic because of the development and the progress made by Baera. So we know that Pascal was happy with Baera, and there was a very small moment at the end, but it could have been a big moment. He could have been the hero in his first game, but we'll address all that. Here's Pascal Janssen on Drew Baera making his MLS debut.
Yeah, I'm very happy with everything that Drew has shown so far. During the off-season, we decided to create a better pathway for Drew. So we sent Micha Ilinic on loan. Obviously, Tavon Gray is the number one right fullback, but he needs somebody that breathes down his neck, and that's something that Drew has in his system. But creating that pathway and making sure that he is training with us on a daily basis is something that he has embraced, and that's when you get the rewards.
Yeah, we were impressed in commentary, but right near the end, back post, crossing ball, did you look at that closely with him as far as maybe what he might have been able to do to step in there and finish?
Yeah, and if you look at today's training, there were 2 moments where he did just that. And it was a little off frame with the back post, but there was also somebody coming in the back post to tap it in, so all well.
That's Pascal Janssen on Drew Baera, and yes, Keaton Parks is starting. We're going to get to Keaton in just a moment, but he looked me right in the eye with that moment. Certainly was one where if he went in with a little bit more vitality, with a little bit more aggressiveness, he might have been able to just poke it in.
Yeah, just a bit more confidence or desire to get to the ball first. But Baera was brilliant throughout the game, but of course there's no point being brilliant unless you then have a massive effect on the game, and that's scoring goals. And also there's no point in saying you're brilliant when you're 19 and you've made it when you've only just played 10 minutes on the field. It's about picking up points where you can improve the game, and we knew that they would have seen that, the coaching staff. There at the back post, you could have either snuck in front of the defender or just beaten to him by coming round the back of him and just darting just in front of him. But it was a good debut, only 10 minutes, so we're not getting too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But he looked assured. He did look pretty confident, apart from at that moment. He attacked any open space he had in front of him. He'd play the ball out of his feet 5-10 yards and chase it. You could see that it's his natural tendency to break forward. I think technically he'll be better moving forward than Tavon Gray going forward. Tavon Gray's a much better defender at the moment, but it's good to see that there is a pathway for the youngsters.
And what the people may have not seen at Coachella, he can play on the left side as well at the back. So that's important that he's versatile in that respect. Sorry for cutting you off.
No.
But let's get on to Keaton Park. Now, Keaton Parks came on, so he's playing his first competitive match since May the 31st of last year because of his third surgery. And he played well. He had a chance to win the game as well with a ball off the head, and he just couldn't lean into it just enough to get it on goal. But he is in the starting 11 today. So there's just one change for New York City. It's going to be Parks in for Kai Truin. I wanted to play this Parks clip, so I've combined it. Myself and Christian Arnold of the New York Post asked a few questions of Keaton regarding the injury specifically. And I started by talking about Coachella last year at the end of the 2025 preseason when his foot was bothering him and whether that had anything to do with what subsequently was going to be this surgery. But here's Keaton with a complete answer and answers about this physical ailment he's had.
For most of that time, I did not think I was going to have to go through another surgery. I thought it was just unrelated, separate issues with my foot. They did find a stress reaction in my foot at one point. So I did have another injury, but in the end, it turned out to be a damage to the previous surgeries, which was quite devastating to learn that. I had gone through like 10 MRIs, X-rays by then, and then in that last one, they spotted something. So it was tough to hear as we progressed through like deciding to do surgery again, or and how long the recovery was going to be. It got harder and harder, and then I was able to cope and like deal with it and understand that I just needed to do this and hopefully come back better on the other side. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been tough. This has been my longest time out. Both other surgeries, I was back within 3 months or so. And so this one was 8 months between games, and it's definitely been tougher. I can definitely feel it in my fitness wise that I was out for a longer period. Yeah, I was cleared to start full with the team when preseason started. So I started some heavy workouts during the off season and was cleared to play with the guys and train with the guys day one. So that was nice. I had something to look forward to. Yeah, it was just exciting. That first training session, I had all the energy in the world because it was just all adrenaline and just happy to be back. Yeah, I absolutely had thoughts like that, which I think was the toughest part of all this, was whether I would be able to come back from this third surgery. But I have an awesome team around me, awesome performance staff here that helped me through it all, awesome doctors at Montefiore that helped me every step of the way. So I feel very confident in the people around me and the support and help that they've given me. And yeah, it was just all about like working my hardest and doing everything I can to try to come back. I still have doubts some days that I'll be able to do this for as long as I want to, and we'll just see where it goes. But it's, for now, out of my control. I'm doing everything I can to stay healthy and to continue to be healthy. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Specifically, we have conversations about like just vaguely like this could shorten your career, but there's no guarantee of anything at this point. I'm like a very unique case. According to them, there's nobody in sport that's had 3 of this same surgery. So it's all theoretical. It's all guesswork by very educated people, of course. But as of right now, we're just doing everything we can, and they're helping me do everything I can to stay healthy and manage what I have. Yeah, and then we'll see. And then if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. But for now, I think we have good control over it.
To the point where he's in the 11 today, yeah. So Pascal Jansson's not going to put him in there if he doesn't feel like he's, in essence, 90 minutes fit. So he's really worked his way back. You hear portions of that, though, and just understand that it's one of those injuries or these successive surgeries, one in 2021, one in 2023, one last year in 25. And he talks about how he's been off for 8 months. So he's just, I suppose he's never certain from day to day if something might happen.
I liked the answers there. I like the honesty, Glenn, as well, because so often you hear sportsmen, sportswomen hiding behind answers by not really saying a great deal. But he said everything. He told us absolutely everything we need to know. He's not entirely confident. Surgeons not entirely confident. Medical staff are not entirely confident that he can play till he's 35, 38.
Right.
Because there's nobody else.
Because no one has ever. He said
unique.
that too. Yeah,
this is unique. Yeah, so there is no previous, experiment, for want of a better word. There's nobody else has been the guinea pig to find out what happens. So yeah, so it's a shame for him. But I guess in a way, it sounds like he's come to terms with it. and he's going to go as long as he can.
Yeah.
He's going to play for as many years as he can until his calf tells him he's not allowed to, which is
you can't have a better
way.
attitude. You just can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do know that as a player, when you get injured, there's nothing worse than not really knowing what's going on. And it sounded like that was at the beginning of last season when he had the foot and he thought that it was a separate issue. But then they finally found out, as he said, after, a dozen or so, 10, I think he said, MRIs and x-rays. Once he finally had found it out, had that third surgery, now he knows exactly what it is again. He's of that mindset. I am going to play as long as I can for as long as I can. I'm going to keep myself as fit as possible, and we'll just see what happens because we just don't know. And as he said, and so eloquently put, very educated people, doctors, surgeons, they don't know either. Yeah. So he can just go as long as possible, and that is that.
And he'll be in the midfield today with Aiden O'Neill, Kai Truin, who got his debut and first start at the same time against the LA Galaxy. He's on the bench. And one more note about Parks. Last year, as far as single game performances, he had the most assists in a single game, 2. And that was in that 2-2 draw at Nashville. That's one of the 14 games he played at the beginning of the year, most of the time through discomfort and pain. The foot, you heard about that. And then the next part that just forced him to shut down for the remainder of the year. So there you have that. As for Philadelphia, we can roll them up there too. Their lineup is generally what you would expect. Andre Blake in goal, Nathan Harrial at the back, along with a new guy. This is the guy I suppose is there to replace Glesnes, and that's Jaffet Seri Larson. He's from Copenhagen. Then Makanya, he'll be next to him at the back. He's been sensational. Frankie Westfield. Jovan Lukic is back in the lineup. He came in as a substitute in their first game, which was a 1-0 loss to DC United. Jean-Jacques in the midfield. Anayo, who is getting the start. He made his debut last week off the bench. Damiani and Alaski also in the lineup. They're missing their big money guy that they brought in because he got red carded, Ezekiel Alado, who said something to one of the DC United players that the referee overheard, and that was it. Boom, you're gone. And he might suffer from further suspensions from the disciplinary committee. We'll see.
The incident I read said it was not only words, but it was a gesture as well. I don't know whether that's correct, whether I was reading it properly. But yes, certainly there's a potential, you would have thought, Glenn, that there could be further punishment as well.
Offensive and insulting, abusive language actions. These are the words within the discipline committee's language where they make these sorts of decisions. Guido Gonzalez Jr. was the referee who overheard it. All right. Right now, there's one other game that has already begun. The first game on this Sunday is Austin DC United. It's 82 degrees in Austin. So the weather's really nice. And beyond that, now we haven't watched every minute of that game, but there hasn't been a whole lot going on in front of either goal. But it is 0-0 through 57 minutes. Philadelphia, New York City, that's our match, will be the second game of the afternoon. Then it'll be Orlando, Inter Miami. Huge and important for the New York City folks to watch because Orlando City will be the home opener next week on March the 7th on Saturday. And then San Diego will be at home to St. Louis City a little bit later on. Got to give a bit of a shout out to the New York Red Bulls, eh? And a 17-year-old who leads the league in scoring. Julian Hall has 3 goals. And then yesterday in their 1-0 win, the 3 teenagers combined on the goal. I'm just going to show the goal here. Sorry, that was so loud. I thought we were going to be able to talk over that, but there's not a chance. So that was Dos Santos, 17 years old. He's at left back, to Mehmeti, who is the much heralded 16-year-old midfielder, with a flick header to Julian Hall at the back post. And that's all she wrote in that match. And the Red Bulls are 2-0 under Michael Bradley.
They're absolutely flying, and you look at their team, and it's not only those early teens. You can't really say teenagers. They are early teens, aren't they, at 16 and 17?
Yeah.
It's the fact that the majority of the rest of the team is under 21, 22 as well. I think Cade Cowell's right up there as the third oldest, because obviously you've got Forsberg, who's 34, and then you've got Nealis, who I assume is the skipper, and he is probably 28, 29. And then apart from that, it's 22 and under. It's a very young team, incredibly young team. Choupo-Moting's being kept out of the team, who earns millions of dollars a year, played for Bayern Munich, Stoke in the Premier League. He's a very good player, and he's being kept out by a 17-year-old who's not going to be happy. His bank manager's okay with it, but he's not so happy. But fair play to Michael Bradley as well.
Yeah,
he has seen those players. You said to me just before we came in, he's seen those players in pre-season, and he said there's just no way.
His quote was, his exact quote, it was more and more clear every day that these guys needed to be on the field.
Perfect.
So,
that's good with me.
Yeah, that's right.
Good with me, and it's good with anybody. And you've won your 2 games. When you start losing a few games, that is then when you have to rest 16 and 17-year-olds, because we all know they are not going to probably be able to do 10, 20 games on the trot. Hall maybe, because he's played a lot of games previously last season. But yeah, mentally and physically, they will not be up to it to sustain that throughout the whole season. But while you're 2-0, keep going, keep putting them on, or keep starting them and see what happens.
For Philadelphia, the opponent today at Subaru Park, that they've got to be thinking at least a little bit about last November when New York City won the game. They lost to DC United in their MLS opener 1-0, where Ty Baribo, who was their leading scorer a season ago, one of those cash for player deals, brought Baribo to DC United, and he scores the goal. One thing to keep in mind, and sort of like New York City last week, New York City had one shot on goal. It was Julian Fernandez Mercado from 12 yards out from the spot, the dead ball penalty kick. And that Baribo strike, that was the only shot on goal for DC United. So, you make them count, and then you get your 3 points. DC United is 0-0 with Austin FC today. And as we close, number one, I put out a bit of a promo earlier. Matty and I were stranded last week at my home here in Central Jersey. Really, he couldn't go home because the roads were closed, the mass transit, nobody was open.
I was put to work.
Yeah, we put to work, and then all of a sudden I said, Matty, let's go on and do a live stream. Just kind of review yesterday's game and anything else that comes to mind. So that was a moment where I went to Matty. I said, we could do this every Monday if we wanted, and we're going to endeavor to do it at least one, because we're going to start tomorrow. But I guess we're promising that we're going to do something called NYCFC Coffee Break. It'll be every Monday at 11 a.m. So we'll get a chance to review any games that New York City played during the week. If it's a 2-game week, we'll do that as well. Elsewhere around MLS, and anything domestic, global that comes to mind that's of interest. One thing, there's been some rule changes approved by IFAB, which are going to take place at the World Cup. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I've got a Pascal Janssen cut about the daylight offside, and I want your opinion on that too, but not now, because we have a game to broadcast, and we've got to get out of here. So, but the final thing I would say is that because Yankee Stadium is the venue next week, that's where the home opener will be against Orlando City. DC United beat Philadelphia at Audi Field, and The Athletic does this annual poll of MLS executives, CSOs, sporting directors. 22 out of the 30 clubs participated. The worst stadium in the league by the vote of the executives was Audi Field, where DC United plays. Then it was BC Place, Gillette, and then, no, excuse me, I got it wrong. Audi, I'm sorry. You finished third as the worst. It was BC Place, Gillette, Audi, and Yankee Stadium came in behind those three. How about that? Yeah, I think you hear more about Yankee Stadium than those other ones.
You definitely do.
But that's so Yankee Stadium finishes fourth as the worst stadium. But that'll all change next year with Etihad Park over there in Queens. All right, that's going to do it for us for now. So anybody that's watching or listening right now, we expect you to be with us tomorrow morning at 11. If you're at work, just sneak it, figure it out somehow. And we, on my YouTube page and Facebook page, that gives you a chance to type comments, questions, just like you've done here. So we appreciate every time you join. And this is if that's in reference to NYCFC coffee break, that is so cool. We couldn't agree more. So we're on in 15 minutes, 4:15 Eastern, with the pregame show, which will feature the entire interview with Pascal Janssen, and then our live commentary of the game, where you have to sync us up with the Apple broadcast. That's at 4:40 for the kickoff. So for Matty and myself, Chris Acona standing by. He'll be joining us on the network. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the game, everybody.